In this, oh my goodness. In this video, wow, my voice was failing me right there. In this video, we are going to go over how we make these different solutions and what the actual function is of molarity and what's most cost effective for us as a school and how you can prepare any kind of solution by simply diluting it properly. Okay, what we do is we purchase as a school, okay, concentrated acid. Okay, we don't buy each individual type of concentration that we need for a specific lab. So when it comes to acids, we buy 12 molar hydrochloric acid, 18 molar sulfuric acid, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so these are really bad, gnarly, nasty things. All right, sometimes in labs we need 6 molar or 3 molar or 1 molar or 0.5 molar or 0.1 molar. It would not be cost effective in order to buy each individual one already prepared. So what do? We figure out how to dilute them. So we need only a couple bottles of concentrated every year, and then we can make liters and liters and liters of our dilutions as we need for our lab. Okay, so when we dilute them, we need to make sure that we follow this equation. M1V1 equals M2V2. And what I always like to put is one side we call the concentrated side, and the other side we call the dilute side. Okay, so the concentrated is kind of like the before, and the dilute is what we get after. Okay, so M stands for molarity times the volume. Okay, so molarity times volume. Molarity is moles per liter. Volume is measured in liters. So what happens when we multiply those two things together? Liters and liters cancel out and we get moles. So what this is saying is the moles of our concentrated equal the moles of our dilute. And you're thinking, what do you mean? How is it the same? Well, the only thing that's different between your two solutions is how much water you have to dilute them. Okay, think about the concept of, having an iced tea that is too sweet. All right, when iced tea is too sweet, what do you do to make it taste better? No, you don't add salt, which somebody always says. Okay, what you do is you add water to water it or dilute the iced tea. But do you actually change the amount of sugar that's in it? No, no, you don't. You're still consuming the same amount of sugar. It's just going to be more palpable if you dilute it with a little bit of water. So M1V1 equals M2V2. So if you want to think about this conceptually, you're going to need a small amount of your concentrated acid in order to make a dilute larger quantity for what we use in the lab. How many you need per lab, plus what if they spill, plus or times the 12 lab stations that we have, times 2 or 3 classes of each section. So you can do your calculations with that. All right, so here's our sample problem. Okay, how much concentrated 18 molar sulfuric acid should be used to prepare a 750 milliliter solution that is 0.1 molar concentrated? Okay, so we get 18 molar sulfuric acid. We're looking for the volume of the concentrated acid, and we need 750 milliliters of a 0.1 molar solution. So we write M1V1 equals M2V2. And on the left, I write concentrated as my little reminder. On the right, I write dilute in order to help me out. Okay, so the molarity of my concentrated acid is 18 molar. I do not know the volume. I'm solving for V1. The molarity of my dilute is 0.1 molar. and the volume is 750 milliliters. Now, I know that molarity is in moles per liter. If you have milliliters over here, you don't have to convert it to liters so that the liters cancel out. But your answer over here for volume will be in milliliters. So just be careful of that. All right, so V1 needs to be by itself. How do I get V1 by itself? It's being multiplied by 18 molar, so divide by 18 molar. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. And then in my calculator, I would put zero point 0.1 times 750 milliliters, and then I would divide by 18 molar, and the volume is going to be 4.16 milliliters. Huh, that's all that I need? If I want to make 750 milliliters, absolutely. Remember, it is very, very concentrated. Okay, you are going to need small amounts of concentrated acid. Okay, that's why we can get a couple of bottles of the 18 molar stuff and then dilute as needed. Now, here's the little tricky part. Okay, in order to make a dilution, what we saw in the beginning of the year in the lab safety video is whenever you dilute acids, you need to go by adding acid to water. All right, so when you add acid, AA, okay, you have to add the water first. So, how much water do we need? If we are going to make 750 milliliters total, we need to subtract the 4.16 milliliters. So 750 milliliters of the solution minus the 4.16 milliliters of my concentrated acid means that once I get that in my calculator, 745.84 milliliters of water go into the flask or the beaker first. Okay, so the water goes first, then add 4.16 milliliters of acid, which our acid is H2SO4, our sulfuric acid. Okay, so that is how you properly dilute your substances. So if you need to figure out how much water, you need to make sure that you subtract from the total amount that's there. All right, and that is how we dilute our stuff.